The authority having jurisdiction, often referred to as the AHJ, holds the responsibility for granting approvals when there are variations from established codes. Typically, the AHJ is represented by the local electrical inspector or the fire marshal. In situations where rear access to 40-volt rectifiers is less than the required 3 feet, the AHJ evaluation is essential. The code acknowledges that for low-voltage, disconnected equipment, approval might be granted for a compromised arrangement, especially when normal access is primarily via the front panel and rear access is infrequent. The AHJ role involves determining if the compromised arrangement is indeed acceptable. This determination considers various factors. Firstly, the frequency of access to the equipment plays a crucial role. If rear access is seldom needed, the AHJ may be more inclined to approve the variation. Secondly, the likelihood of an electrical hazard is thoroughly assessed. The AHJ needs to be convinced that the reduced access does not significantly increase the risk of electrical incidents. Thirdly, the availability of alternative means of access is taken into account. If there are other ways to safely access the equipment for maintenance or inspection, the AHJ may view the compromised arrangement more favorably. If the AHJ ultimately approves the variation, they will formally issue a permit or another official document that allows the installation to proceed according to the agreed-upon terms. It's important to recognize that the AHJ decision carries significant weight and is considered final. While disagreeing with the decision is possible, understanding the proper channels for addressing concerns is important. In cases of disagreement, there might be a right to appeal, but exhausting all other options and attempting to reach a resolution through discussion is generally recommended before pursuing a formal appeal. To navigate the process of obtaining approval from the AHJ successfully, consider the following steps. 1. Submit a well-crafted written request to the AHJ. This request should clearly explain the specific situation and provide a detailed justification for why you believe the proposed variation is acceptable and safe. 2. Include any supporting documentation that strengthens your case. This might include detailed drawings, precise measurements, and clear photographs that illustrate the existing conditions and the proposed arrangement. 3. Be prepared for a meeting with the AHJ to discuss your request in person. This meeting provides an opportunity to address any questions or concerns the AHJ might have and to provide further clarification or supporting information. 4. Maintain a respectful and professional demeanor throughout all interactions with the AHJ. This professionalism can contribute to a more positive and productive dialogue. Remember that the AHJ typically requires some time to thoroughly review the request and supporting documentation. Patience is essential. If you have any questions or need clarification during the review process, do not hesitate to contact the AHJ. Clear communication can help ensure a smooth and efficient review. The role of the AHJ is paramount in ensuring electrical safety and code compliance. When dealing with situations involving code variations, understanding the AHJ responsibilities and following the proper procedures are essential for a successful outcome. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, is a comprehensive set of standards that governs electrical installations. The NEC aims to safeguard people and property from electrical hazards. However, strict adherence to every provision of the NEC is not always feasible or practical in every situation. That is where the authority having jurisdiction, or AHJ, comes into play. The AHJ is the entity responsible for interpreting and enforcing the NEC within a specific jurisdiction. This entity could be a local building department, an electrical inspector, or even a fire marshal. The AHJ has the authority to grant exceptions or modifications to the NEC requirements, provided that the proposed alternative meets or exceeds the safety level prescribed by the code. When faced with a situation where strict compliance with the NEC is challenging, it is crucial to engage with the AHJ early in the project. This proactive approach allows for open communication and collaboration to find a solution that ensures safety while accommodating the specific constraints of the project. To seek a variance from the NEC, a formal request must be submitted to the AHJ. This request should include a detailed explanation of the situation, the reasons why strict compliance is not feasible, and a proposal for an alternative solution. Supporting documentation, such as drawings, calculations, and product specifications, should also be provided to support the request. The AHJ will review the request and may conduct a site visit to assess the situation firsthand. They will consider various factors, including the potential hazards, the level of safety provided by the proposed alternative, and the overall impact on the electrical system. The AHJ may also consult with other experts or stakeholders to gather additional information. If the AHJ is satisfied that the proposed alternative meets or exceeds the safety level prescribed by the NEC, they will grant a variance. This variance will typically be documented in writing and will specify the conditions under which the alternative is allowed. It is important to note that the AHJ decision is final and binding. If the AHJ denies the request for a variance, the project must comply with the strict requirements of the NEC. The authority having jurisdiction plays a vital role in ensuring electrical safety. By engaging with the AHJ early in a project and seeking a variance when necessary, it is possible to find solutions that meet both the safety requirements and the practical constraints of the project. Remember that the AHJ is not an adversary but a partner in ensuring a safe and compliant electrical installation. In the context of the question concerning rear access to 40-volt rectifiers being less than the 3 feet code requirement, but with the code allowing for approval of compromised arrangements for low voltage, disconnected equipment, it is important to delve deeper into the relevant sections of the National Electrical Code and related standards. Firstly, let's clarify the term low voltage. The NEC defines low voltage as 600 volts or less. Since the rectifiers in question operate at 40 volts, they clearly fall under the category of low voltage equipment. This is an important distinction, as the NEC often provides more flexibility in requirements for low voltage systems compared to higher voltage systems, recognizing the reduced risk of electrical shock and arc flash. A specific code section that addresses access and working space around electrical equipment is typically found in Article 110.26 of the NEC. This section outlines the requirements for providing adequate space for personnel to safely operate and maintain electrical equipment. However, it is important to note that the NEC also includes provisions for exceptions to these requirements, particularly in cases where strict compliance is not feasible or practical. One such exception may be applicable to the situation described in the question. The NEC recognizes that in certain circumstances, the available space may be limited due to physical constraints or the nature of the installation. In these cases, the AHJ may grant approval for a reduced working space provided that certain conditions are met. These conditions may include the use of barriers or other protective measures to prevent accidental contact with energized parts, as well as the implementation of specific safety procedures for working on the equipment. When seeking approval for a reduced working space, it is crucial to provide the AHJ with a detailed explanation of the situation, including the reasons why strict compliance with the code is not feasible. This explanation should be supported by documentation such as drawings, photographs, and calculations. It is also important to demonstrate that the proposed alternative arrangement provides an equivalent level of safety. This may involve conducting a risk assessment to identify potential hazards and implementing appropriate mitigation measures. In addition to the NEC, other standards may also be relevant to the situation described in the question. For example, the National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA 70 standard provides guidance on electrical safety in the workplace. This standard outlines the requirements for developing and implementing an electrical safety program, including procedures for working on or near energized equipment. When seeking approval for a reduced working space, it is important to consider the requirements of NFPA 70E and to ensure that the proposed alternative arrangement complies with these requirements. This may involve providing additional training to personnel who will be working on the equipment, as well as implementing specific lockout/tagout procedures to prevent accidental energization. It is also important to consider the potential for arc flash hazards when working on or near energized equipment. Arc flash is a dangerous phenomenon that can occur when a fault in an electrical system causes a sudden release of energy. This energy can produce intense heat, pressure waves, and flying debris, which can cause serious injury or even death. To mitigate the risk of arc flash hazards, it is important to conduct an arc flash hazard analysis to determine the potential arc flash energy levels. This analysis should take into account the voltage, current, and clearing time of the electrical system, as well as the working distance from the energized equipment. Based on the results of the arc flash hazard analysis, appropriate personal protective equipment, or PPE, should be selected for personnel who will be working on or near the energized equipment. This PPE may include flame-resistant clothing, gloves, face shields, and other protective gear. In addition to PPE, other measures can be taken to reduce the risk of arc flash hazards. These measures may include increasing the working distance from the energized equipment, using insulated tools, and implementing remote operation procedures. The process of obtaining approval from the AHJ for a reduced working space can be complex and time-consuming. It is important to start the process early in the project and to work closely with the AHJ to ensure that all requirements are met. This may involve attending meetings with the AHJ, providing additional documentation, and making modifications to the proposed arrangement as needed. Ultimately, the goal is to find a solution that provides an equivalent level of safety while accommodating the specific constraints of the project. By working collaboratively with the AHJ and demonstrating a commitment to electrical safety, it is possible to achieve this goal.